Good morning, students. Welcome back again to English class for class 10th, and this is day 8. And today we'll be taking up the poem How to Tell Wild Animals by Caroline Well. Now, usually poems have a literal meaning and an in depth meaning, but here we just have the literal meaning wherein the poetess has tried to describe the wild animals in a very funny or a very humorous or a comic manner, wherein we need not be afraid of these animals and we should try to understand the various qualities and traits that they possess. Now, let's begin with the paraphrasing of the particular stanzas. In the first stanza, the poetess begins with the introduction of the Asian lion. Lion, a very fierce, violent, wild animal that cannot be tamed easily, but in the manner in which she has explained as to how to identify an Asian lion is pretty comic if we go through it line by line. So let's begin. If ever you should go by chance to jungles in the east, and if there should to you advance means to come forward, a large and tawny beast, tawny, yellowish brown color. If he roars at you, you are dying. You'll know it's the Asian lion. Now, actually, the word dyin happens to be dying, but since the poetess has used the poetic license, a kind of figure of speech or a literary device or a poetic device, wherein the poetess has tried to modify certain words to rhyme with the other words in the stanza given. So here she says that the way in recognizing various animals is pretty complex. The way to identify an animal is pretty complex, but the way in which our poetess Caroline Wells had tried to talk about a lion is very comic. So, in the first stanza, she says that if the reader comes across an animal whose skin is tawny or yellowish brown in color, and if this particular beast, this animal, roars at them so strongly that they can die of fear of being harmed by this animal, it means that the reader has encountered or met with an Asian lion that can kill a person with its roar. So it's so fierce looking, it's so violent, it's so pretty wild. Or if sometime when roaming round a noble white beast greets you with black stripes on a yellow ground, just notice if he eats you. This simple rule may help you learn the Bengal tiger to discern. Noble actually means highborn or aristocratic or royal. Discern means to identify or to recognize. Now, the poetess says that an animal that roams in the jungle and belongs to a royal clan. The color of its skin is yellowish with black stripes all over its body. She says that if you notice that he kills you and eats you up, then this means that you have surely met a Bengal tiger. This time also she has used dark humor to explain how a tiger looks like, because once a person has been eaten up by a wild animal, there is no use in determining which wild animal it was. The third stanza talks about a leopard. If strolling forth a beast you view, whose height with spots is peppered, as soon as he has leapt on you, you'll know it is the leopard. 'Twill do no good to roar with pain. He'll only leap and leap again. Now, the various words strolling means walking, forth means to come forward, hides skin of animal, peppered, having spots or dots, leapt to jump forward or to jump on someone. Now, here the poet says that if the reader is casually walking in a forest in a jungle and he or she happens to meet an animal that is yellowish in color or muddy in color and has spots, black spots all over its body, then it is easy for a reader or a person to understand that it is a leopard. This animal is so fast that it will leap on you, pounce on you, or jump on you at once. This jumping is an indication that it is none other than the leopard. Moreover, the poetess adds that if you will cry out in pain, it's going to be of no use, it will be in vain. Why? Because the leopard will not be able to identify your feelings or your emotions or your gesture, because for it, you happen to be only a prey or food. So, in the stanza, the poetess explains us about the characteristic or the traits of a leopard. The fourth stanza talks about a bear. If when you're walking round your yard, you meet a creature there who hugs you very, very hard, be sure it's a bear. If you have any doubts, I guess he'll give you just one more caress. Now, yard, backyard, or an open area or a piece of land that is there but inside the boundary of your house. Caress, to have a gentle touch or to give a person a touch of love and affection. Now, the poetess says that if a person is walking in a lawn and he happens to meet a creature that gives it a tight hug, like a teddy bear, it is easy for a person to identify that it's a bear. She further says that if the reader is still in doubt regarding the animal, as to what kind of an animal it is, the easiest way is that he will keep hugging and touching you very gently, just like we have teddy bears in the houses. And when we must have been young children, we loved those soft toys, especially the teddy bears that are very famous among children. So just like that teddy bear in our homes that we used to love and hug and play with when we were children, in the same manner, this particular bear that is not actually a toy or a soft toy, it is a wild bear. It will keep on holding you tight, right? Making you recall your sweet memories of the childhood. This act of his will make the reader sure about its identity, what kind of an animal it is. You will come to know that it is a bear. Stanza number 5. Though to distinguish beasts of prey, a novice might nonplus, the crocodile you always may tell from the hyena thus. Hyenas come with merry smiles, but if they weep, they are crocodiles. Now, the poet in this particular stanza talks about two different animals, the hyenas and the crocodiles. And she says that for someone who is new in identifying animals, it will be like a puzzle or a confused state of mind to identify animals that hunt other animals for their food. We've already done three of them: the lion, the tiger, the particular leopard. So here, the poet tries to help out the readers by telling the difference between two animals. He says, she says that hyenas will be smiling, whereas if it is a crocodile, it is always in tears. Both of these animals are dangerous. Too much of smiling and too much of tears, especially coming from the side of the wild animals, is pretty dangerous, because we know that both of them are carnivorous. The last stanza talks about a chameleon. It's almost like a lizard. Chameleon is small, a lizard sort of thing. He hasn't any ears at all and not a single wing. If there is nothing on the tree, 'tis the chameleon you see. The poet says that the next in line of the animals is a chameleon, which is a small creature almost resembling to a lizard or belong to the lizard family. The difference between the lizard and the chameleon is that the lizard may camouflage or may change its color to hide from its enemies, but chameleons are having that particular quality in themselves that whenever they see danger coming forth or towards them, they totally camouflage in the color of the surface on which they are at that time. Moreover, she says that chameleon has the ability to change its color according to the surface. Therefore, if you see a tree and find nothing else on it, no birds, no insects, then it must be a chameleon sitting on it. It has changed its color into the color of the tree. So this is this is the entire poem. This is your complete paraphrasing of how to tell wild animals. Moving to the literary devices and the figures of speech or the poetic devices as we know them, and the rhyming scheme. The rhyming scheme of all these stanzas is A B A B C C. How? Small, all. If we take small as A and all as A, so it's going to be AA. Thing and wing, BB. Tree and C is going to be CC. So AB, AB, C, C. Now coming to the figures of speech. Allusion. It is actually a reference to a famous thing or a creature or a species or a place. Just like the Asian lion and Bengal tiger, they are world famous. Alteration, repetition of consonant sound. R, roaming and round is stanza number 2. The sound of Y, your yard, stanza 4. Repetition, the use of the word lep and lep in stanza number 3 where we dealt with the leopard. So in knowing the literary devices, please ensure that the examples are always associated with the literary devices. Many a times in the tests and the exams, children tend to miss out and they usually write the definition. More than the definition, it is the figure of speech associated with an example that the examiner requires. Coming to the rhyming scheme, as I've already explained you in my previous videos, the last two words, right? The last words of the particular line should match with the other line. For example, small all, thing wing, tree C. One more example, pray may, it's AA, non plus thus BB, smiles crocodiles CC. So this is the way we identify the rhyming scheme. Thank you.